Witness protection promises safety to gangsters. But you've heard wrong. It delivers hell. The reality is far darker than anyone imagines. Behind the scenes, criminals face terror, betrayal, and a life of constant fear. There's no escape, no peace. Stick till the end to uncover the chilling truth behind the Witness Protection Program. You might remember Henry Hill, the famous mobster turned snitch whose story was brought to life in the movie Goodfellas. The life he lived in witness protection wasn't some happy Hollywood ending. It was a complete nightmare full of secrets, loneliness, and constant fear. Henry Hill was once a big player in the Lucchese crime family. He flipped on his old crew and joined witness protection in 1980. They promised him a fresh start, a way to run from his dangerous past. But the truth? It was a lot darker than what the movie shows. In 1980, Hill, his wife Karen, and their 2 kids were taken away by U.S. Marshals, given new names, and moved to small towns all over America. Under the Witness Security Program, they were supposed to live like regular people and fade into the background. But it didn't really go that way. Henry Hill was so hooked on the gangster life. Within a couple of years, he was back to his old ways, hustling, making shady deals, and even getting caught with cocaine. In 1987, he got kicked out of witness protection for breaking the rules too many times and getting arrested again and again. Once he was out of the witness security program, Henry went off the rails. Strangely enough, the mob never went after him. Why? Because by then, most of the guys he snitched on were either locked up or already dead. There was no one left to pull the trigger on Henry Hill. The man who once lived in fear of being killed by the mafia ended up dying peacefully from heart disease in 2012. "I'm an average nobody," Hill said bitterly after it all ended. So what do the feds really do? When do they make a gangster disappear? The Witness Protection Program is run by the U.S. Marshals as like a government magic trick. Poof a brand new identity. As soon as a mobster agrees to talk, the Marshals show up with a full new life package. It's not like the movies where the FBI just gives you a plane ticket and a new set of clothes. The process is much more complex. The first thing that happens is you lose your name. Once you enter witness protection, your old identity is completely erased. The FBI creates a new persona for you. New name, new birth certificate, new social security number. They completely rebuild your life. Your old self is completely dead. So how do they go about it? When Henry Hill went into witness protection, he was shuttled off to a new city, given a brand new name, and his family was given new identities too. He didn't get a glamorous new life. He was forced to live under a fake identity, away from the life of crime he knew. The FBI also set him up with a new job, a low-key position, so he wouldn't draw attention. To help them settle in, WITSEC gives them money for the first few months, enough to cover rent, food, and clothing. It's not free money forever, it's more like startup cash for a second chance. If the witness doesn't try to get a job or seriously look for work, that support ends fast. Also, when someone enters their new life, they're given strict rules. You can never go back. You can't visit your family, you can't call your old friends. Everything you knew is gone. The program forces you to disappear into the shadows. The psychological toll, the mental toll of losing everything, like power, the adrenaline, respect, and control, is beyond anything you can imagine. One day you're a feared mafia associate, the next, you're just another person working a regular job. For many former mobsters, this is the hardest part of all. The mob life is all they know. Henry Hill himself struggled mightily with this. As his wife Karen later noted, Henry missed the action and couldn't adjust to playing it straight. In fact, Henry got kicked out of witness protection after just a few years because he couldn't stay out of trouble. The truth is, for many mobsters, living a quiet life is more difficult than it sounds, and Henry wasn't the only one. Similarly, Sammy the Bull Gravano, once a dangerous underboss for the Gambino family, didn't even last a year in the program before going back to his old ways. He was later arrested for running a drug ring with his own son. Tommaso Buscetta, the famous mafia informant from Sicily, spent the rest of his life afraid for his family, haunted by the violence he left behind, and always worried someone might come for revenge. These are people who broke the law for a living. For these ex-gangsters, living a quiet life can feel more like a punishment, like a slow, empty version of prison, because old habits die hard. The cost of betrayal. You would think that flipping on your mafia family would earn you a fat paycheck. The reality is more sobering. Witnesses do get some financial help, but it's basic. Besides a few payments here and there, the support is small. It's not a fortune. In the UK, police have paid informants anywhere from just a few pounds for small tips, up to around £15,000 over time for really important info that helped bring down big gangs like the Yardies or crime groups linked to the craze. In the US, people who give up info on dangerous gangs like the Bloods, Crips, or mafia families might get small cash rewards, often less than $500 per tip. Bigger payments are saved for tips that are high risk or very important. The government also gives protected witnesses a short-term allowance to help pay for basics like rent and food, but it's not a big payday. The money is just to help them survive while they start over. So yes, informants do get paid, but it's nothing like the movies where snitches are rolling in money. In real life, it's more about staying alive than getting rich. And then there's the family. When a gangster enters witness protection, it's not just them who get relocated. Their spouse and kids are dragged along for the ride. In fact, kids in witness protection often face a lot of psychological challenges. They're told to lie about who they are, to never talk about their past, and often they can't even ask questions about it. The stress of constantly having to hide who they really are can lead to deep emotional scars. Meet Jackie Taylor. She was just 7 years old when U.S. Marshals burst into her Ohio home in the middle of the night, forcing her family into the witness protection program to keep them safe. Her father, Clarence "Butch" Crouch, was a dangerous member of the Hells Angels biker gang. After facing serious charges, including murder, he agreed to testify against other gang members. That choice meant Jackie, her mom, and her siblings had to leave everything behind, live under new names, and constantly move to stay hidden from the threats of the violent world they escaped. But it's not always successful. What happens when the system fails? There are some notorious examples where witness protection went wrong. Take Joseph the Animal Barboza. He was a feared hitman who flipped and entered witness protection. But just a few years later, he was gunned down in San Francisco. The mafia didn't let him slip away that easily. Corey Thomas is another tragic example. He agreed to testify against major drug dealers and was supposed to get into witness protection. But before the program could protect him, he was murdered right outside his sister's home. Then there's Diana Merced. She was going to testify against drug dealer Joseph Navedo and begged for police protection. Even after asking for help, she was shot in the face by 2 attackers at her mother's apartment. A pure tragic failure of the system. As if disappearing wasn't hard enough, welcome to the 21st century, where staying hidden is tougher than ever. In the old days, a new name and a move across the country could be enough, but today, the internet never forgets. Can Witsec survive the digital age? Drop your thoughts below. For a protected witness, they're a minefield. In the past, the FBI just needed to move someone to a new city, change their name, and start fresh. But now, social media can undo all that. Facial recognition technology can track someone's movements and connect them to their old identity. Even a simple photo posted online can expose a protected witness. The FBI now has to deal with a world where keeping a secret is harder than ever before. And the mob isn't the only threat. Tech-savvy criminals and hackers could easily track down someone hiding in witness protection if they slip up online. Is witness protection really a safety net, or is it just a well-disguised trap? Drop your thoughts below. Thanks for watching. Until the next chapter in the Outlaw Book.